What do you love about this country?
I love that it's small, and I love that we're existing. And we have to be proud that we have a country.
Kyrgyzstan, aka the Kyrgyz Republic, is perhaps not the most obvious place to visit for a show about technology. Kyrgyzstan used to be part of the Soviet Union, so it has lots of Soviet stuff laying around. Soviet government buildings, Soviet sculptures, Soviet theme parks, with an extra dollop of wintry dystopia. There's even Vlad, the dead one, fresh from a snowball fight. In the winter, the capital city of Bishkek is, well, it's bleak. Coal and trash fires envelop the city in smog. It's grim, then beautiful, then grim, then beautiful all over again. And also kind of weird. The city's circus, for example, takes place inside a decaying UFO. Now, I'm not going to dazzle you with the usual robots and DNA editing. The story here is about a fragile democracy trying to find its place in the modern world.
Our people were so courageous to go and do the revolution and fight for it. I saw it. They were shooting people.
It's about a landlocked nation, one with very few natural resources, hoping to gin up a tech industry on the fly.
We are limited by resources. I like it that we don't have resources. Otherwise, if everything would be okay, so we would be lazy, guys.
Kyrgyzstan, it turns out, really wants to sell the rest of the world on its software engineers and its internet creators. And on that score, they've had at least one major success. Believe it or not, some of the most popular videos on YouTube are cooked up right here in Bishkek.
Hello, welcome to the Billion's home. Let me show you around. Here we make some shoots for our channel. This is the actor's room. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hey! Animation Studio A, Animation Studio B. Welcome to audio recording studio. What up, guys?
Hello.
I think all our singers are here. Hello. Hello. Aman, who got 2.5 billion views. Everybody knows these guys. Everybody knows these guys in Kyrgyzstan. To be the part of this team, it's a dream team, really.
I'm not gonna lie. I came here in small part to kind of make fun of the Billions. It's a kids show on YouTube, and if you have Spawn, there's a very good chance they have consumed some of this. It's not exactly high art. Some people might even call it villainous ear poison.
Shake, shake, move your body, shake, shake, move your body.
But whatever you think doesn't really matter. They get the views. The billions and the billions of them.
This is our diamond button. First in Central Asia. This is our trophy. We achieved that we got
10 million
subscribers.
How did a 50-person outfit in a country many people have never heard of achieve this kind of success? To find out, I sat down with the founders, husband and wife team, Ernest and Cholpani. Ernest is a producer, and Cholpani is a singer and actor.
I do this for a living, research people. There's like nothing about you guys. The Western press has not sort of.
It's gonna be first interview.
This one.
This one,
right?
yes.
Okay, this is what I was wondering.
Because we don't like it. We just want to work.
For people who have never seen any of your shows before, can you explain what Debillions is?
Debillions is a group focusing only on kids' songs. We have 13 channels in different languages.
And the two of you, you're a husband and wife, right?
Yeah.
And
we grew up together studying in theater children's choir. That's called Akshola. And we took part in many international kids festivals. And when Ernest was 15 years old, he created teenage group. We were rapping, breakdancing, singing classic songs, pop songs. That was the beginning of Debillions. We had all the experience we needed to work on YouTube. We have 4 music videos with 1 billion views. And in addition, when we first saw the Baby Shark video, it already had 1 billion views. Ernest said, I also can make such a song.
Yummy, 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 yummy. So yummy. Yummy.
Here's how that went.
Yummy, yummy, yummy. So yummy.
So what's the secret sauce?
I like it. I like it.
I think kids loves the rhythm of this song, like yummy, 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 yummy.
So yummy.
Yummy, 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 yummy.
So yummy.
Kids loves to repeat it. And there is one more secret. It's in minimalism.
I am a triangle. I am a triangle.
Every song has a goal to teach 1 or 2 words without overloading kids' attention.
Unicorn!
Statistics show that the most minimalist songs break all records.
You heard her, internet creators. Now go get those Debillions. Okay, so maybe it's not the most mind-improving content, but it is some kind of modern phenomenon. Debillions is just one of a dozen channels this company is feeding, and their success has allowed them to recruit the best singers, graphic artists, and composers in the country, all to pump out videos at hyper speed.
this is a very American, crass question. How big is the business in terms of not just viewers, but it must be like huge in terms of revenue.
мүмкін қырғызстандық компания болған үшін қырғызстан үшін біз жақсы ақша тапқан компаниялардың қатарына кірішіміз мүмкін. Бирок Американың обороттары, Американың компанияларының жанында біз ең кичинекей компаниялардың бири болуп калдык окшойбуз.
Ernest didn't want to get into exact numbers. So let's take a wild guess, shall we? Other YouTube Kids channels with similar view counts have reported earning millions, even tens of millions of dollars per year. Debillions might take a hit from having many viewers outside the US, but it's safe to say they're doing well for themselves. The whole enterprise gets a boost from the Kyrgyz government and industry too, through a program called IT Park. The hope is to conjure a flourishing Kyrgyz tech industry out of thin air by giving companies like Debillions massive tax breaks.
Participants of IT Park, they are free from all taxes except 1% income tax. And we are participants of IT Park, and that's been a great support from our government.
But the picture wasn't always this rosy for Debillions. Virality might come easy to these folks, But trying to get paid on YouTube, that's a whole other thing.
Before the Billions, there was a channel, AWA, AWA. We were working there. And we got one hit cartoon. It was so 42 million views. That was for us phenomenal.
I would kill for 42 million views.
42 million views. Oh my God, that was unbelievable. That moment was for us like the phenomenal.
Yeah.
Said like, wow, a video so 42 million.
But then...
And then they cut our monetization in AWA.
And we didn't get any
YouTube
money
cut the money?
from it.
Yes. YouTube
yes.
got the money. Why?
Demonetization.
Why?
We break
I
some
don't know.
terms. We didn't know some rules.
Okay.
That's
Yes.
why we
And
just...
nobody tell us
Okay.
all the
Nobody
rules,
teach us even.
what we should to do. We were working 2 years just for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a very hard time
We were
for us.
starving.
So it sounds like it was sort of frightening for what, like scary.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you were a couple with a young child and taking all this financial risk.
Money, no. Vera.
Believe. Talk a belief.
I may have come here to tease, but my time with the DeBillions crew left me amazed. The vibe at the office was more hardworking, fun-loving family than moron-filled influencer mansion. And there was creativity everywhere. Boom Boom can play basically any instrument. Ernest and Chulpani have an obvious eye for talent and a gift for reading the whims of the internet. And instead of staff meetings, DeBillions has all-hands campfire sing-alongs.
It was just a small warm-up before the shooting our cartoons.
Of course, to really understand DeBillions, I had to become DeBillions. Behold, American Daddy, savior of YouTube children.
I'm about to be a superhero in a DeBillions video. You go to Kyrgyzstan and amazing things happen.
When you do it, at the end, just you can do like flying up.
Okay.
Same, but with this side.
Okay. I'm super dad. People are in trouble. I must save them.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Camera, action.
Help! 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 Help!
Where are they?
Help! Help! Ashlee, help us!
So, it's okay. Now we're on the ground.
Whoa! Super
I'll help. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Zombie! Zombie!
Thank you for teaching me to be a superhero. And now I want to see the professionals work.
Camera is.
DeBillions told me they would animate this all together into something amazing. In the meantime, allow me to tell you some less kid-friendly things about the Kyrgyz Republic. The country became part of the Soviet Union in 1936. The Soviets did their best to try and turn a rural, very poor society into something else. Mostly, they poured money into Bishkek, and the buildings and people followed. The Kyrgyz Republic arrived in 1991. It's a democracy, but not exactly a grade A democracy. Votes can be bought and sold. And there's a not infrequent number of coups. It's a Muslim nation, but religion does not feel like it takes center stage here. Today, the country's ties to Russia remain strong, with cheap energy meant to keep the Kyrgyz people sweet. It's a precarious position, and one from which many people here hope to break free. The Billions is meant to represent what Kyrgyzstan can be in the future. A more modern nation, one full of creativity and expression. But this journey is not always smooth. Take, for example, the story of Zere, one of the most famous singers in the country. She's YouTube famous too, but in a very different way.
I started thinking, okay, I should do something big, something about women's rights, because that's what I care about deeply right now. And so I just started writing a song. I made my friends listen to it. They said maybe I should do a video, so that's how it all started.
And you did go viral.
I did, I guess. Yeah.
When you did this song, obviously the lyrics of the song brought up a lot of issues that some people were, very happy to see being discussed openly. And obviously a lot of people were less happy. And then in the video, I think you were wearing a bra and people were, what happened?
So the reaction was basically enormous. I thought that the provoking stuff would be seeing like a girl in hijab besides a girl in a bikini and, all of that diversity that has never been seen before. But the provoking thing was something that I literally just decided like in a second, I was like, okay, I'm gonna look like this. That was the main trigger for the whole dialogue to start. I was sort of ready for some backlash, sort of ready for some, bullying or stuff like that. But it always seems easy in theory. But I think
you got death threats, and
I did get death threats, and there were a lot of them actually.
Do you still face a lot of the pushback, or has it sort of died down? Like, is it uncomfortable for you to walk down the street?
I wouldn't say I'm comfortable walking in any street.
It was a terrible example, because I've heard you sing about this,
Yeah, like on top of the catcalling and everything that you get as a woman, if you're also like a feminist who was naked on the screen and all of that, that also puts other layers,
Part of the reaction was how you were dressed, but the part of the reaction was the things you were talking about. Yes. And the stories I read just said, these are things that aren't often discussed.
Well, I think they were always discussed, not just collectively like that, not through one thing that everyone has an opinion on.
How would you describe the issues that women face broadly?
For an average woman in Kyrgyzstan, it's hard everywhere, like at home, in the streets. You can literally get kidnapped, and made a bride. You're supposed to marry your rapist, basically, when you get kidnapped as a bride. Unfortunately, it still happens. It doesn't happen as often as, before, but still it does happen.
Kyrgyzstan is bizarrely famous, or rather infamous, for the practice of bride kidnapping. Women are grabbed off the streets and forced into marriage. No one in the country seems to agree on how prevalent this is. Although in my short time here, I met several women who told me they had been kidnapped or had family members who had been kidnapped. The practice was only made illegal a couple of years ago, and it's questionable how much the law is actually enforced.
If a woman gets harassed, beaten up at home, assaulted in the streets, and a lot of other stuff that can happen to women, you go to the police is never gonna help you. I've never seen one case in my life where the police was actually helpful in these issues.
We asked the Kyrgyz government to comment on all this, but we never heard back.
And can I just add that
please.
I'm saying this absolutely like being in love with this country. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I am complaining and like trying to go somewhere. No, like I wanna be among those people who try and make Kyrgyzstan at least like a safer place to live.
Is there a sense that things are changing? If I look, there was a female president relatively recently, I think the first in Central Asia. Is there a sense that things are changing, or like, do you feel like it's just the same as it ever was?
I myself, I'm very amazed and inspired by a lot of what women do in our country. And you're right, like relatively speaking, in the region where we are, we have some better stuff going on, but that's relatively speaking, you know? There's a lot still to do, for sure.
The next night, the DeBillions crew invites me out for an evening of revelry. Bishkek style.
Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna hold. Aisha, Regan woman.
After getting good and tipsy on Kyrgyz lager, it's time for the grand unveiling.
This is as exciting as it gets. I get to see myself as USA Super Daddy on a big screen.
There's every chance DeBillions is a one-off. They got lucky hitting the internet just right. But Kyrgyzstan is betting and hoping that this is the start of a full-on tech revolution within the country. The woman riding this horse so majestically is Tavita. And she symbolizes a lot about Kyrgyzstan. This is a place where the people take great pride in the natural beauty of the country. It's also a place fond of its traditions and nomadic past. Tavita, though, is also part of something new and different here. When not galloping, she's coding. She's part of a wave of thousands of young Kyrgyz students being trained as software engineers. The hope is to create a homegrown Kyrgyz tech industry which can serve as an economic engine to power the country's future. Naturally, I went to a fine dining yurt with Tavita and her sister Abigail, who also works in tech, to learn more about their experiences.
What do we have?
So different kinds of bread and borsok. It's like fried dough.
Smells good.
Yeah, these are different types of meat and horse meat as well.
Okay. How did the two of you get into technology? Because you both have interest, obviously.
So my sister first started interested in IT sphere, and after that she said she recommended me to get into the IT industry.
What have you been doing?
Front-end development.
Okay.
I'm a middle front-end developer.
What kind of company?
Meanwhile, Tavita's sister Abigail has a job telling the world about Kyrgyzstan's coding efforts.
If you want to work with American tech communities, businesses, you have to provide really high quality. So our pitch was that we've been working, we are experienced, we already have clients, and also cheap infrastructure like electricity, and also demographics, very young people, there are a lot of talents. And I think that this is because there was like huge focus on mathematics, and people are being just very motivated.
It's a pretty convincing story, which is good because the stakes are high. Kyrgyzstan has a nearly 30% poverty rate and a per capita GDP only a mother could love. With few natural resources to mine and little in the way of big industry, it needs to look outside.
The goal for the country is to have how many programmers?
50,000.
50,000 by
2030.
By 2030.
Yeah.
And what number are we at today?
I think around 7,000.
7,000. All right, so you're part of like the 7,000 then.
Yeah.
To build a 50,000 strong software army, you need boot camps. This is the headquarters of Codify, one of several companies in Bishkek with coding programs for people of all ages. It was started by Dinara Ruslan. She grew up here, moved to Silicon Valley, and then came back with the hopes of building a tech giant in Bishkek.
I was doing like IT product management, and I always needed project managers, but I couldn't get them because no one actually prepares them here in Central Asia. So then I started teaching it myself.
You have this fascinating background because you worked in Silicon Valley in technology. I saw you worked in Iowa in technology. And I mean, for you to come back and do this, you must have some hope that you can help in this push in Kyrgyzstan to sort of modernize. Or is this, you just saw a business opportunity?
You know, like when you grow up in the family where you like low income, low class family, you just don't think on like, oh my God, I'm gonna help my country. No, you think on like, oh my God, what I'm gonna eat tomorrow, how I'm gonna survive, you know? So I'm gonna lie if I say, oh, I wanna, you know, like help the country, whatever. No, I grow up thinking that I have to become someone.
Dinara did become someone, a product manager at Wells Fargo, and tasted the decadent delights that the magical land of California has to offer.
You get a job and you are making money and you start, you know, going to mall on weekends and then to cinema on Fridays with your friends, and then you think, oh my God, this is the life, this is the American dream. I was like taking Uber, and then I was buying and then ordering this weekly, you know, vegetables to be delivered to my house, you know, like. But then it snapped. It was May 2016. I was thinking, I haven't seen my family in my country in 4 years. I just decided to take a vacation, and then I was supposed to leave to go back to my other dream job in California. And then I got this job offer from local startup.
Dinara never left and eventually started several companies of her own. She might frame her decision to stay as strictly business, but her coding school is very much part of the national project, preparing little ones to participate in the economy of the future.
Меня зовут Аруке, мне 8 лет, и мы здесь проходим скретч.
My name is Leah, I'm 15 and I'm studying HTML.
My name is Eldana, I'm 16 years old and I'm studying here JavaScript.
and Dinara takes particular pride in helping young women become tech-savvy.
If you look at the IT scene, if you even look at my office, 80% is the girls. You're gonna see other startup founders, they're also like female founders. So you will see that the Kyrgyzstan is different.
It's a happy fact that women have a strong presence in the Kyrgyz tech scene. I met a good number of female leaders and engineers during my visit to Bishkek. They're not hard to find. But the picture is complicated. Kyrgyz society can be brutally chauvinistic. Women are often expected to take on traditional roles in the home, not to learn to code or pursue a career.
Society's opinion will affect you if you think about it. If you don't think about it and just study and do your job, like who cares what that person is saying that you can or cannot do? If you think, if you believe that you can do something, that's all that matters.
When it comes to women's issues, Dinara is quick to accentuate the positive and insist that anyone can make it. But that's no surprise coming from a self-made woman who founded 3 companies by the age of 30. If anyone can bootstrap Kyrgyzstan into tech prosperity, it's people like her.
Do we have a future? Yes. Is it the right one? I think yes, because I'm a dreamer. I actually have a dream to build a first unicorn out of Kyrgyzstan and Central Asia, hopefully codify.
I, for one, wouldn't bet against her. Don't go to Kyrgyzstan in the winter, they told me. It's gray and polluted. It's a horrible time to visit, they said. But then, how else would I have seen this? It's Alaman Ulak time in a Kyrgyz village about 3 hours from Bishkek. You get a goat. The goat suffers. And then you have what amounts to a ball. And whoever has the ball is under attack. The goal on this day is to get the goat back to your village first. Then you get to eat the goat. And it's been well tenderized. Clearly, this is a place that keeps its traditions alive. At least the super epic ones. But Kyrgyzstan's future is taking shape out here too. That's thanks in large part to this extremely cheerful man, Tolondu Tochubayev. Tolondu made a fortune in the biotech business all over the world, then came back to Kyrgyzstan in hopes of making his homeland more prosperous and free. He set out to build a series of schools throughout the country. The first one came to life here, where he grew up.
We're going to your school?
Yeah, it's a first school because we built it in 10 years ago, 11 years ago, first school.
And how close is it to where you went to school?
I grew up on this village, but I always been walking from this village until that village.
Okay.
2 miles every day.
You walked 2 miles in the snow?
In the snow, it was
classic.
Yeah, it's a classical story.
Here we go. Oh, wow, it's huge.
It's huge. It's huge.
It's music time, it looks like. It's always the best time, music time.
yeah. This one, it's all local flora and fauna, which we have in Kyrgyzstan.
Okay.
Talandu wants his schools to foster creative and critical thinking, in contrast to what he sees as the more rote instruction at government schools. He's built 15 schools across Kyrgyzstan and plans to build 15 more. He's funded much of this operation to date, but hopes the schools will soon be self-sustaining.
Tell me about your whole vision of how you started the schools and where you want to take it.
It's a simple. What for you need money? Money should work for something. So that's why I had the first idea that I have to have 10 schools. I will have $1 million for one school every year. And then I said, okay, now I have to find a business which will generate enough money to build the schools for me.
Talandu was a teenager when the Soviet Union collapsed in 1991, leaving Kyrgyzstan's economy in shambles. He was able to get a medical degree in Bishkek, then took a job in the government, but quickly found himself at a dead end.
For me, it was on front of mine, it's a two-way. Either I have to corrupt it, either I have to poor.
So you thought if you stay at the government, and you just do your job and you do it well, you're going to be poor. Because I think you said
yeah, because my salary was that time it was $50 a month. So I decided to start my business, but while I'm from the village and I don't have relatives who can help for me, and so I decided that what I can do, I can sell my brain only, and so decided to build a consulting company.
He started a medical diagnostic business. And who wouldn't buy medical diagnostics from this man?
Tell me, everywhere you have a diagnostic lab now, it's Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Ukraine?
Yeah, Ukraine, Russia. Before was in China, in Vietnam.
This has turned into a massive business.
Yeah, some kind of enough to build the schools.
Yeah. You want all these kids to be able to participate in the global economy.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's why it's 80% of our students, our schools, are entering the best universities in the US and Europe.
That doesn't bother you that they're going overseas? You feel like...
I believe that some of them, they will stay there in the US or Europe. But I believe some of them, they will come back. And I believe that critical mass of that people will change country. Привет, ребята. Hi, guys. How are you doing? Be cool, guys. Would be nice just to Can we join for you for discussion, for your debate? Yeah, it's good.
We happened to visit Talandu's school on a very special day.
We've got a debate going on. It's 10th and 11th grade students, I think, and it's kind of should art be taught in schools, and we've got pro arts, and we've got the cruel anti-art people.
Art brings harmony and beauty into every person's life.
Science, giving the students the opportunity to better understand how and why things work.
I sat back and watched the free-thinking fly.
Learning to read rhythm music help to develop our brain and to increase our mental capacity.
It was kind of like a scene from Dead Poets Society, if the students were also being stunningly eloquent in their third language.
Providing the arts adequately as part of the curriculum costs extra money in teacher time and resources.
I urge you to support our position that art isn't essential to be in the school curriculum.
I think it would be nice just to understand, you are position or in parliament, Ashlee?
Well, I thought both sides made good arguments. I'm a reporter and a TV maker who covers science and technology, but I'm making art about science and technology. So I think we can't have them split. We have to have both together.
From my position, I take the simple things. Do you know what this means, guys? I believe that 75% of this is art. And mostly I think it's without linkage between art and the technology, you couldn't create new exciting things in the world.
I'm trying to know how optimistic to feel about Kyrgyzstan. It still seems like you have some of these fundamental problems, that there's limited natural resources. There's people like you that are trying to educate students, and there's people pushing in technology, but it's going to be a long journey.
Yeah, it can be a long journey.
Yeah.
But we are lucky that we don't have mineral resources. We are lucky that we don't have oils.
Okay.
And all of situations pushing us to think more what we can do, what we can achieve. Because I see some kind of countries who has, for example, oil, and they're becoming lazy. Because it's easy, take oil and sell it, it's easy. If you depends only on human being, then it's a question, then they're starting to move.
Back in Bishkek, there are signs that many things in Kyrgyzstan are changing, and changing for the better. This building may not look like much from the outside. In fact, it looks pretty terrible. But on the inside, there's a group of young women aiming for the stars, or at least for low Earth orbit. Kyrgyzstan here is the director of the Kyrgyz Space Program, aka the Satellite Building School for Girls. The goal is to make Kyrgyzstan's first satellite and fly it into space.
Unfortunately, with the collapse of the USSR, we did not have any space projects or space agencies. So that's what we are trying to do, to revive this industry. And we are also doing it with a team of girls because we really want to convey our message that we need more girls in STEM and technology. So, this is the first satellite in our country that we brought here.
The big reveal.
This is a prototype of a CubeSat. Of course, you don't want this to go to space because it's not really protected and doesn't use the materials that are able to endure space. But it's a great model to learn with.
Yeah, and if I can nerd out for a second, because I'm a satellite nerd, not too long ago, if you wanted to build a satellite, you had to do everything from scratch. It was very expensive. It was like reinventing the wheel every time. And then a couple universities in the United States came up with this CubeSat idea to sort of standardize the shape, some of the components you could put in. And so this is just a really cool thing where it gives you this huge head start. It pulls the price down.
Yes, that's totally true. Even 30 years ago, we would not have imagined we would be able to do that. And now you can see space is accessible. It's open to everyone.
Yeah,
that's
it would
great.
totally take a nation state to do this.
Yeah, so basically the idea was to understand what components does the CubeSat consist from, how they communicate with each other, how they work with each other, and try to connect them to our own sensor. When people ask us, what is your satellite going to do in space? We say, it doesn't matter what it is doing in space. It's going to be the first satellite of our country in space. We will have some space heritage. We'll have knowledge, expertise that we can transfer to an educational institution, to promote space and to revive the industry.
If ever there's been a time when this plan could work, it's right now. With tiny starter satellites available for purchase and commercial rocket companies selling ever more affordable flights into orbit, there's never been an easier time to get your gadget off planet. But that doesn't mean it's trivial. Kyrgyzstan still needs to raise a few $100,000 to get a spot on a SpaceX or Rocket Lab launch. And it's always a dicey proposition whether these things will actually work once they're exposed to the void.
So you need some money, and you still have some work to do. I mean, do you have a goal date to fly the satellite?
Oh, that's the toughest question. I tell people that if I were paid $1 each time a person asks me this question.
Well, you have to embrace what people do in space, which is you just announce something and then you're just really late. So that's what everybody does. You know, that's it's the beauty of aerospace.
Yes, I know.
К любому числу, которое тут находится, цифровой.
If the team succeeds, they'll give birth to a Kyrgyz space industry. Even more important, they'll send an undeniable message to the haters and losers who don't think women have a place in Kyrgyzstan's tech future.
They see, I think, women of my kind like a danger. They are scared, and they say, you know, you have. I'm not sure that it's supposed to be on the camera. Like, you have balls. Why do you compare me to a man? Why am I supposed to have balls? I don't like this trend. When, if you are a cool woman, you are compared to a man. Therefore, I think for us as role models, it's not only important to become role models in STEM, but also in personal life. Saying that I'm a strong woman, I can do everything. And that's why my personal life and my career, you know, I can excel in them. They can both work out together.
I didn't have a lot of expectations coming here, but even if you just spend a week in Kyrgyzstan, there's some things that become totally obvious. It's a beautiful country. The people must be among the most generous in the world. And it's a country that's fragile and in a delicate state, but one where there's a lot of hope for the future. And anything could happen.